What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. I found this guy over in Target. This is going to be a simple repaint that we're going to do on the Cobra Trooper, Infantry Trooper. And let's see what happens. I have a couple of these, so hopefully this comes out looking good and we don't end up ruining the figure. So let's get into it. Let's take off the weapons. Doesn't look like an easy way to cut this off, which I would definitely do just to save myself some time. So the first thing I'm going to do, heat this guy up, pop the arms off, and then see if we can lift this vest off. So I'll be right back. No rips or tears. But these, it's like I said in the review videos that I've done, these are so poorly made. Like I was attempting to, I think you guys can see this. It's sort of like a NECA, but a cheap version of it. There's a hole inside of here, and there's a peg. I think you guys can see that, which is attached to this. So that one on the bottom is not going anywhere, but it's basically, I think you guys can see that now. There's a ball in there. So if you can somehow bend this up, all I did was pull these up, attempt to pull it down, and the legs popped right out, which is great because they're not broken or anything. But with a little heat, this is a different plastic than what they use for the Marvel Legends, or the old Marvel Legends I should say. So with a little heat, this basically slips right in and out of there. So that's pretty awesome. So we're just going to apply, let's go with like a simple plain black here. So we're just going to apply a matte black, doing acrylic. Changing the brush. This one gets better coverage, I think. And I added some water, I think is coming across there. We're gonna repaint that, so don't worry about the logo too much. And notice I'm being careful, I'm staying in the lines, I'm not painting over it, but I mean, really I could just be splashing that because no one's gonna see it. The vest is going back on, so I'm just doing it to be me, but you guys, in the interest of saving time, there, like I'm not going to be too perfect, like I'm not going to worry about that. You can see I came out a little bit right there, but that's fine. We're going to leave it. So back in 1982, when the line first started, we were introduced to two Cobra figures. I'll put up a picture now. And that is the Cobra Trooper, or Cobra the Enemy, who has a red logo, and then there is the Cobra Officer, who has a silver logo. Slight differences in the knee pads. There might be a very subtle difference in the paint, the color blue that was used, if any. I think it might be the same blue or just slightly different. But for Hasbro, you know, I'm not somebody who likes spending money on figures if I don't have to, because it is so expensive. So if they did release a Cobra Officer, chances are it'd be this figure repainted, or it's not enough of a difference that they would even release it. So that's where I got the inspiration to do this. I want to make my own Cobra Officer. So we just want them to be different enough from the regular release version of this figure. This is the Cobra Infantry figure. So what I did here was I got 3 different black paints. I have one semi-gloss black. I have one, oh, it's on my finger. I have a semi-gloss acrylic, I have a matte flat acrylic, and I have a metallic black acrylic. We're going to use all 3 of those. Let's see if I can do this without screwing it up. Going for the collar here. Nice. And typically I wash my figures before I paint them. There is a factory oil on these, but I don't always do it if I don't have to. This is a simple repaint, so should be fine. I don't remember how much of these corners are exposed when that vest is on, so of course I'm doing entry at work, so for some reason I have started whispering. I'm just going to paint this because I definitely know you can't see it, but every time I look at it, I'll know it's there. There. Now these extra sorting paddings are different than the regular uniform, so I think it'll look good if we paint those all the way across. Careful. And of course I did the one thing I shouldn't have done, which was trying to keep my hand perfectly still. And 20 minutes ago I had a Red Bull. Sugar is probably causing me to jolt a little bit, so I apologize. For angles like that, it's like inside, you see that? I'm just gonna lightly kind of poke in there. You can see that extra line of blue in there. neat little trick. I put some more water on the tip of the paintbrush, and look how it drips in. It does the work for me. See that? Now everything but the peg is black. And already you guys can see the black in here. Paint dried already on his chest area. I like that. I like the way that looks. Go with that black symbol, make sure it's black all around. I think I still have water on the brush. Let's see if I can jump to that. Oh, a little bit. Yeah. Good to go. But yeah, sorry Hasbro, I'm not paying you $25 for the same figure. Because all you're gonna do is change the Cobra symbol color. I can do that myself. There's one YouTuber who I saw, who admitted on camera, by the way, that he spends $10,000 a year on action figures. I don't know how you justify something like that, but I guess if you got the money, you don't mind it. It's no big deal, but I'd like to think even if I was a millionaire, that's too much money to spend on toys, so I wouldn't do it. I don't know about the neck. Should we do the neck? Is that overdoing it? Let's think about it and come back. I'm a huge fan of G.I. Joe, actually. I think maybe I have over 200 figures, probably, in my collection. Probably the best toy line ever made. this little peg here, oftentimes you'll see a lot of people not paint that or paint it last. I put water. I water down the brush so the paint is heavily watered down. You can see how watered down it is. It's basically a drop of water in there. But that's going to dry so thin that afterwards you can move the peg and the paint doesn't stick. So it's not going to shred off the peg. But if I were to just glob that area, that peg, with acrylic paint, after it dries, either I wouldn't be able to move this arm, and when I did move it, the paint would tear, literally. So here's a little hint for you guys, a little trick, how to paint those pegs without removing them. You basically want the water to thin out that paint. You guys can see I'm using this ribbing to my advantage. I paint the main section first, then go back and get the line. Slightly bending my paintbrush up. I hear the ice cream truck outside. And police sirens. Okay, so the plan with this piece, move you guys closer. The plan with this piece, just lay down the base coat first. And this whole thing is going to be black, so don't worry about any of that. Hasbro just put up for pre-order the G.I. Joe Classified Breaker and Barbecue, so that was nice. Did not sell out in 30 seconds. That was also nice. On top of that, they both look really good. Breaker is one of my favorites. He's part of the original 1982 figures that were released, which will always be my favorite. I love the plain green army men look. So hopefully you guys took advantage and picked yours up. I just watered down the brush to help me cover a lot of ground here. Just keep in mind when you're watering down the brush not to put too much water on, because it will basically turn the paint to water. And what that means is when it dries, you're going to be able to see the color underneath, because it's going to dry very thin. So it means more base coats you're going to have to put on. So just keep that in mind. You can put a little bit of water, but not too much. Keep hitting the camera with my thumb, so I apologize. Once this is finished and painted, and it dries, I think we're going to put the figure back together, and then put this on, and then continue. And the reason I want to do that is because we're working with different color paints, and so I'm gonna want to see what the whole ensemble looks like together before making like color variation decisions. So you want the figure to be balanced and good. I mean, I played with the idea of applying browns in here to some of the straps, but that wouldn't be keeping true to the original scheme of the figure. That original 82 figure, so that's what gave me the idea to just use different types of black. Let's water this down. You can see how the water helps. See, I can, look at that. See, it helps. You just don't want to put too much, otherwise it's pointless. Make sure you get just under the straps too, so you don't see any blue on the side of the figure. Really realizing how many Cobra symbols are on this thing. There's another one right there. So I think that makes 4. We're in the bathroom, and I figure it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to see it. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing to put this back on so you don't rip this. That peg is the toughest one to get over. And that's why you're heating it up. You're heating it up so that this plastic becomes more flexible without tearing, but don't push it. Here you go. And quite often what I've spoken about in the past was how not to rip this peg off in the bicep here. So when you're heating these up and taking them apart and putting them back together, this is what you want to heat up, not this. If you heat both up at the same time and then go to pull it, this obviously is now weaker and it's going to rip out into this piece. So the goal is do your best, wrap a towel around the shoulder part, and then you can try and just heat this up, and then when it gets warm, pull it out before you heat this up too much. So there's like a little bit of an art to it. For the most part, you guys will see me, I'm just going to heat this up and it's going to slip right back in. There you go. Hope that was helpful. I hope you guys find that trick useful. Jumping ahead, I started painting the leg here, but I wanted you guys to see there is that split right here. So just like with the arm, you might run into a problem, the arm with the peg, you might run into a problem where you paint over this line here and then the leg gets stuck together. When you do that, the paint will rip. Or you'll put it on so thick that you won't be able to move this at all. So I put watered down paint on here, and you guys can see this is what I do. I'll do that, but this is just basically water. You guys can see it really heavy right there. Just water. You guys can see it creeping in. See that? Even to the point where it's dripping across. I literally don't need to do anything else. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, he's put back together. Here's the black. I did not end up painting the inside. I was a little worried that that might be too much black. It could still look cool. So if you want to try it at home, you can, but I left it blue because I thought it might be too much black. But he's already looking pretty badass. Just to let you guys know, off camera, I ended up painting this strip. I still got to fill it in a little bit right there. See, I missed a little bit. And I painted the mask. And that was it. You saw me paint the side of the head. Painted inside here. You guys saw me do that. But yeah, he's looking good. So now to help offset this flat black that we have going on here, you guys can see he has straps all over here on the back, just all over he has them, and then also of course up here. So we're going to use a semi-gloss here, black semi-gloss, 4700 Model Master testers. So just so you guys know what I'm using. I have no idea what this is going to look like when it's done. This is probably one of the best designed figures of the line in my opinion. I think there's like 30 figures, maybe even more, it might be 40. But they have not all been good, unfortunately. I just added a little bit of water to the brush. When you see heavy streaking like that, you can go back in, comb through with some water. Should just help it to dry flat. Going back to that conversation about too much black. This guy, if you paint him all black, you're really doing a disservice because you're going to be left with a boring SWAT trooper. So the camera died on me, but I'm back and you guys can see I decided to keep going even though the battery died. So I fixed these straps here. These needed to be a matte. As you see, there was a belt here, so I messed that up initially. So we have a belt here and a belt here. Gave the buckle some highlights. This looks like there's a wrinkle right there, if you guys can see that. Almost looks like the old G.I. Joe Hasbro belt buckle. For those of you that don't know, the old figures, a lot of them have this belt buckle, and there will be a line here. And that's the belt turning into an H for Hasbro. Sometimes you'll see it in reverse. I think it's on the Scarlet figure, and some of the female figures, if not all, have the line here, and then they'll have one line in the middle, which is a sideways H. So just keep a lookout for that. It's a nice little Easter egg. Another little Easter egg, you guys can double check your figures at home, but this figure has a strap right here. You guys can see that, and it comes and it goes to a strap. Nice detail there, so it looks like it's really buttoned in. But then this one doesn't, so I don't know why that is. So you guys can check. I don't know if this is a variant or what, but that's very, very odd that it's here and not here. Anyway, just made some adjustments there. I fixed that belt. That's really all you guys missed, and I color that in too. So I found this paint. This is the last paint we're going to use. Coming to the end here, it's going to be the knee pads and this piece here. I found this, and it says sequin black, but all I focused on was metallic. But now I think about it, sequin black is just gloss. So I'm hoping there's a metallic finish here, and it's not just a bootleg gloss black. I guess we're going to find out. And we're going to test it on the knee pads. If we don't like it, we'll just put the regular gloss paint over it. Or maybe just leave it if it looks the same, I don't know. Alright, okay, so you guys can see that if you didn't know any better, or if I didn't know any better, this just looks like a gloss. But it does look different, especially when you look at this. So I guess by sequin it's catching the light. It's not quite black, but it's different. It's different enough that it complements. So we're going to do the rest. I think it costs 94 cents at Walmart. So if you guys are interested. Okay, so don't mind me because I'm shaking paint, so you might be hearing that in the background, but I originally wanted to paint the Cobra symbol with that Molotow chrome pen, but I figure why not test it out with the silver first. See how this looks. I'm using this paint here, Platinum Platine, okay. Alright, here we go. This final shot. So you guys can see these are the same figures. So this is what he used to look like versus what he looks like now. That Cobra symbol came out really nice in silver. You can see there was another one, not so clean, but pretty clean. Right there. This one, it wasn't painted at all. And then on the back again, not painted at all, but it is right there. Isn't that weird? This looks out of focus. You guys can see that. There you go. That's messy. So that sucks, but whatever. Ended up painting the helmet. I really dig this. I like the paint scheme. It's nice. See that gloss in the straps. I checked this boot, by the way. Maybe they actually just screwed it up because he doesn't have a clip on his boot either. So pretty interesting. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to show you guys was I ended up painting inside the actual mask, if you guys can see that. Because it does look like it's supposed to be black, but they cheaped out and didn't paint it. You guys can see where the dark blue ends here. But it's actually supposed to wrap around to the mask. So I just painted that black. But it looks good. I'm really happy with that Cobra symbol. Happy I didn't do the platinum on there. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope this inspired you to do the same with yours. Save your money. They're probably going to release a Cobra officer. I mean, maybe they will, maybe they won't, who knows. But if they do, it's just going to be a repaint of this guy. Don't waste your money. Just buy a couple of these guys and repaint them. If you guys were entertained or learned anything at all, please like the video. Do the YouTube thing and press the button over there. And I will definitely talk to you guys soon. Have a great night, guys. Stay creative.